Do you want to know how someone transformed parental abandonment into a $2.5 billion empire? How someone takes the street code and transforms it into mental algorithms that dominate music, business, and culture simultaneously? Because today I'm going to show you exactly how Jay-Z hacked his own pain and create the greatest cultural multiplication system in this story. And by the end of this video, you will understand the two specific mental algorithms he used to transform any trauma into imperial fuel. But I warn you one thing. If you are the type of person who prefers to stay into comfort zone, who thinks success is lucky, who believes people are born special, skip this video. Go watch something else. Because what I'm going to show you today will destroy that victim mentality you carry. And when you understood how Jay-Z minds really work, you will never be able to pay victim in life again. So decide now. Do you want to keep the ordinary, or do you want to learn to think like a cultural emperor? Before we continue, let me introduce myself quickly. I'm Danilo from the Danilo Limitless channel. Every week I bring analysis that no one else is doing about personal development and NLP modeling of the most successful people and strategic business. That's because I want you to truly understand how to reach the next level without wasting time on superficial content. But today I'm going to expose the truth behind Jay-Z. And I guarantee you one thing, 99% of people who talk about him understood nothing about how his mind really operates. Let me tell you a story that will completely change how you see trauma in your life. December 2003, Jay-Z announces he retired from music. What? The guy was at the absolute top. The Black Album was considered the masterpiece, stratospheric sales, and he simply stops while everyone thought it was a marketing or that he come back in a few months. Jay-Z was executing something no one understood at the time. He was applying what I call the imperial multiplication algorithm, because he is what nobody tells you about Jay-Z. He was never just a rapper. From day one, he was always an architect of cultural ecosystem. And the decision to retire from the music, it was actually the most genius move of his career. Because while other artists get trapped doing the same thing forever, Jay-Z understood something that separates emperor from employee. You want to know this absurd code of wisdom? So listen up. You don't build an empire doing one thing. You build an empire making one thing feed all the others. And that's why you are here. If you want to understand how to greatest think strategically, hit the like button now, because I'm going to show you a masterclass in how to transform one skill into multiple empires. But for you to understand the algorithm, first you need to understand the origin. 1980, Brooklyn, New York. Jay-Z is 11 years old when his father simply disappeared. No explanation, no goodbye, just gone. And here is where the story gets interesting, because what do most people on this situation carry that pain for the rest of their lives, develop emotional abandonment block, and because of that spend their whole life dependent on others people approval or afraid to commit. But Jay-Z did something completely different. He transformed that abandonment into an obsession with legacy. And I'm not talking about the superficial emotional transformation. I'm talking about the complete neurological reconfiguration of how he processed pain. Let me explain what happened in his brain. When you suffer abandonment trauma, the brain normally creates two patterns. Pattern number one, I'm not worth of love. Then you will spend your life trying to prove you worth. Pattern number two, people will always abandon me. Then you close yourself off and avoid intimacy. I know this because I've already helped many people emotionally unblock from this pattern. But Jay-Z developed the third pattern, something I've never seen in anyone else. Pattern number three, I'm going to build something so solid it can never be abandoned. And that pattern changed everything, because while others try to fill the emotional void with relationship, with external validation, with additions, Jay-Z decided to fill that void by building an unstoppable cultural empire. And here's the first mental algorithm he developed. Algorithm number one, pain to power transmutation. This is the neural system Jay-Z used to transform any pain into imperial fuel. And it works like this. Trigger any rejection, pain, or trauma sequence like that. Pay attention. Feel the pain completely, without avoiding, without denying. To ask, how does this make me stronger? Transform pain into a power narrative. Use that narrative to connect with audience. Monetize authenticity through strategic vulnerability. Test, is this pain strengthening or weakening me? Result, pain becomes competitive advantage. If I were you, I'd go back and write this part down, because literally this is the process of transforming lemons that life gives you into lemonade. Let me give you a practical example of how this works. Father who abandoned, then obsession with building family legacy. Then legacy become a central theme of multiple albums. Then emotional connection with millions who have absent fathers. Then monetization through music, books, documentaries. Poverty in Brooklyn. Then few to never depend on anyone again. Then rags to rich become branding narrative. Then credibility to talk about business. Then multiple business opportunities. Racism in music industry. Then motivation to create own institution. Then Rockefeller Records, Rock Nation. Then total control of value chain. Then billions in equity versus just royalties. Do you see the pattern? Jay-Z doesn't hide trauma. He recognizes trauma. And if you are thinking, but Danilo, it's that kind of sick. Let me explain the difference by illustrating the common person pattern. Common person is like that. Trauma, self-pity, stagnation. Now, look at the pattern this guy operates. Jay-Z, trauma, fuel, empire. The difference isn't in denying the pain. The difference is using the pain. Comment below if you've already noticed this pattern in your own life, because I want to know if you are applying this mental alchemy or just complaining about your circumstances. But here is where things get even more insane. Because Jay-Z didn't stop at transforming personal pain into power. He discovered how to transform entire culture into capital. And that's bringing me to the second algorithm. Algorithm number 2, cultural empire architect. This is the system Jay-Z used to not just participate in culture, but dominate culture. And when you dominate culture, you control commerce. Let me show you how this works. Trigger: gap between current culture and business opportunity. Number 1, identify emerging cultural movement before mainstream. To ask, how can I become owner of this movement? Create business that doesn't just participate but define the culture. 4, use cultural influence to generate multiple revenues. And 5, transform culture into permanent capital. Is the business shaping culture or just following? Result: cultural dominance that translates to financial dominance. Practical example: Rockefeller Records didn't just create a record label, create an aesthetic. The logo, the clothes, the attitude, everything become culture. Result: total narrative control plus multiple revenue source. Rockefeller transformed his personal style into a 700 million brand. Didn't sell clothes, so the culture of the successful hustler. 40/40 Club, pioneer in transform athletes into lifestyle culture. Didn't just open a bar, create the concept of athlete as cultural icon. Title: didn't just launch streaming, create a movement. Artist on platform become cultural flag that justify premium pricing. Do you see the pattern? Jay-Z never enters a market to compete. He enters to create a market. And here is the insight that will blow your mind. Each of these businesses doesn't work alone. They function as an ecosystem that feeds each other mutually. Music gives credibility to business. Business gives capital to invest in more culture. Culture gives access to new opportunities. Opportunities generate more capital. It is an imperial flywheel that never stops growing. And this brings me to the central insight about Jay-Z. Here is something that only you who follow me will know. Jay-Z didn't build a music career with parallel business. He built a cultural empire where music is just one of the two. The difference is subtle but changes everything. Common artist is like music, fame, business opportunity. Jay-Z is imperial vision, music as a tool, culture as a currency, multiple business, infinite flywheel. And that's why he achieved something no other rapper has. Transform street mentality into mental algorithms that dominate any industry he touches. Because in the streets you learn 3 things. Would you like to know? Number 1, survival. How to transform scarcity into abundance. 2, territory. How to dominate your space. And 3, respect. How to build unbreakable reputation. And Jay-Z took these 3 lessons and applied them on imperial scale. Survival, pain to power transmutation. Territory, cultural empire architecture, respect, narrative, mastery, engine. Then, if you understood what I just told you, you'd never accept being mediocre in life again. If you want more analysis like this every week, subscribe to the channel because I will continue decoding the mental algorithm of the world's greatest high performers. Jay-Z didn't become cultural emperor staying in his comfort zone, and neither will you. So I ask you, how can you not be unstoppable if you master these algorithms? If you can transform any pain into power and any cultural gap into entire opportunity, what excuse will you still have for not dominating your field? No, you didn't hear wrong. I said you will never have reason to be mediocre if you apply what I just taught you. And if this video changed your perspective, share it with someone who needs to see this. Break your limit, build your legacy.